Hello, my name is Alan. My pronouns are he, him, and today I'm facilitating the second of 3 sessions of Against the Sith Conspiracy. This is a drift of my Against the Dark Conspiracy game into the Star Wars universe as part of the Gauntlet role-playing community's annual celebration now of Star Wars Saturdays, when Rich Rogers, in my screen to one side of me, plays games in the Star Wars universe, never using a licensed RPG for the Star Wars. That's just not what Rich does. So if you want to know about Star Wars Saturdays, check out the Gauntlet. If you want to know about Dark Conspiracy, check out my YouTube channel. But for now, I am keen to move on. So we are playing using the Gauntlet community's code of conduct, which I sometimes summarize as "Don't be a dick." You know, play respectfully. All of these players are famed Gauntleteers, so I don't need to go into detail of that. If you want more details, see the start of the first video in this series. We are playing with some safety tools. We're playing with lines and veils and the X card and the open door. And again, if you want an explanation of what those are, please look back at the first in this session. But I will just remind the players that there is a tab for this, and we are playing with lines on sexual assault and violence, harm to children, homophobia, racism, sexism, and transphobia. Infection or plague is a major plot point. And we are veiling intimacy between PCs and NPCs, and peril to pregnant women and infants, consensual sex, and any torture. This game is set up to be 18 plus Star Wars, so there may be nasty things happen, but we will use safety tools to make sure we still have fun. So there's my outline. We will pick up where we are in the plot once the players have had a chance to say hello and introduce their characters. So let me go left to right on the character keeper and say, Jason, say hello, tell us about your pronouns, and introduce us to Kit Porin.
Okay, I am Jason. I use he, him pronouns. I am playing Kit Porin. He goes by Kit. He uses he, him pronouns, and he is a towering gray-haired Wookiee, middle-aged, so he's about 200 years old, and he's a warrior. And he's also, because he's so old, he's done a lot of reading and research, so he's got the research skill.
Thank you. Moving along then. Let's Will say hello and introduce us to the enigmatically named Van.
Hi, my name is Will. My pronouns are he, him, and my character's pronouns are also he, him. Van, who is a bit of a vagrant, a vagabond, a former bounty hunter, and most importantly, a Force sensitive who has maybe slipped a little bit close to the dark side. But that's what happens when you live without a Master Yoda or a Ben Kenobi or anything like that. So
yeah. No, he certainly exhibited some darkness last time. I think it's fair to say.
Just doing what the mission requires. God, carking.
Well, yes, absolutely. Stephen, say hello, tell us about your pronouns, and introduce us to Korsha.
Hi, my name is Stephen, and my pronouns are he, him. And today I'm playing Korsha, whose pronouns are she, her. Korsha is a spy that uses the little drones that we see in the movies, usually used by the Sith, but to kind of float around and do that kind of thing. And check out to see what people, might be up to, but they're a little bit. These drones wouldn't necessarily be something that people would notice because droids are everywhere. So
that's certainly the plan, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, last time a Sith did notice them, and we discovered that Force lightning has Wi-Fi, and gave you a nasty shock. Great. Then moving along, Rich, say hello, tell us about your pronouns, and introduce us to Gar Scribbs.
Hey, I'm Rich. I use the he, him pronouns. I'm playing the human male known as Gar Scribbs, a native of Taris. He's a handsome young man who is like D-list celebrity in the swoop racing and fixing world, but obsessed with finding the Sith and taking them down.
Absolutely. And this band of this found family, this band of heroes, inverted commas, have been called together by the New Republic because the New Republic requires deniable assets, and all of these characters have done things or had things done to them during the conflict that led to the fall of Emperor Palpatine, that has left them not necessarily as they were before. We may well see and hear more of how they have been damaged. And so let us see where we are now. So I think I'm not going to do another screen crawl. You want the screen crawl, go to episode 1. We'll screen wipe from Karania City to aboard Gar Scribbs' ship, because Gar, you have the vehicle skill, so you are our pilot, I think, in this context. So Gar, tell me something about this ship.
Oh, well, since we're in the cockpit, what we notice about the ship is that it's been heavily modified. Like it's got a solid older chassis, but a bunch of shinier bells and whistles that have been, like, imagine a person who got like a Chevy old model and they've spent all their money on getting new bits to put inside it, but the chassis itself is pretty ancient, like Clone Wars era freighter, but he's done his best to soup it up. And he's got like a pair of golden sabak dice that are hanging down because he heard that was cool. So it's all about like, what can I do with my not an incredible amount of funds to make it look just a little shinier, a little more flash. And there's music playing in the cockpit, right? He's bored, but he's got like a little sound system. He's listening to some like weird synth stuff. Yeah, it's a nice bumping tune.
Okay, now in the base game you have a safe house. In this game you have a ship. So we will leave the most difficult question that will come up this afternoon, which is what is the name of the ship, for a little while. But be mulling that over. In terms of what's it like, I've typed in Clone Warriors classic freighter, which has been pimped.
Yes, that is perfect.
Including gold dice, ... If you want to add something to that slot, it's up there, top right of the characters on the operators tab. Let me think. Let's go back the other way then. Let me ask Korsha, who's after it?
I think that there's a debtor who believes that the ship belongs to them. And correct me if I'm wrong, but right now Gar owns the ship.
Well, Gar certainly tells people he owns the ship.
Yeah.
Who'd pimp up a ship like this if they didn't own it?
I think. I don't want to toss Gar under the bus too bad and say like, oh, he actually lost it in a game, but I think that this is one of these upgrades was expensive, and we had to take out a loan, or Gar had to take out a loan, or me, or something. And they don't think we repaid the loan, but we think we did. So they're coming for payback, and they're like, I'm going to rip that hyperdrive out of your ship for payment.
Right. So what you alter this by any means, but what I've done, as you were saying, is someone thinks the ship or parts of it belongs to them, not Gar, because there's credits owed.
Yes.
Yeah. Feel free to tinker with the phrasing of that, Korsha. Let's move along to Van. What single thing is it best at?
Fast.
Oh, yeah. Okay. He's a swoop bike racer. Of course it is. Fast, with lots of exclamation marks after it. Okay. But sadly, there is something that is not great about it, Kit. What's wrong with it?
I think Gar is like souped up the inside, but the outside is really falling apart. So like pieces of it just fall off every once in a while if the wind blows too hard. So at some point, something important is going to fall off. Keep rolling the dice, hoping it's not today.
Okay. What I've written down is outside is dangerously, sorry, Hull. Let's call it Hull. Hull is dangerously fragile. Stuff may fall off.
Perfect.
Okay. He's getting around to that, I think. Is that true, Gar? Does that sound
It's
like
on the
ship?
to-do list. I've got it. It's fine. I've already picked out everything on the catalog.
If only that unknown contact within the New Republic government had not put the call in when they did, it would be up on chocks now, having this work done. Fine.
Yeah, at the time reserved and everything.
Narratively, in play last time, we discovered that the ship comes equipped with tech equipment and explosives. Anything other than the stuff you need to use your skills. So in Cautious case, you have as many drones as you like. You don't have to, they're there. In the case of Gar, there are going to be, you're going to have access to other vehicles if you need them, not just this one. So all of those things that are involved around your expertise, that's fine. But anything that is not tech or explosives, other than a hand blaster, you are going to need to call on a contact to get. And calling on a contact just costs stress. Easy. So that's the ship. And it, you know, I think it looks pretty good inside. You know, it's a classic. So it's got volume. This is not a cramped. I mean, I can see it behind you there, Gar. I mean, that's quite a big space. And you know, Van's in a different space that's equally big. And Corsia is round the corner from either of you. And, you know, we're seeing a corner, another corner. So there's plenty of room on here. And you are en route to Taris. Okay. But before we get to Taris, let's have an opportunity, some downtime, in as much as I am curious here whether anybody wants to seek relief from the horror. Does anybody think their stress is a little high at this point and want to knock it down? I'm seeing a hand up there from Van. Van, what do we see, or what do we flash back to before you left Karania City that shows you seeking relief from the horror?
I think it's even. It's on the ship, and Van is meditating as we fly through hyperspace, and he thinks back to, you know, there's all that whispering and things like that, and he's going to tap into, it all solidifies as you hear a woman's voice say, you know, the old refrain of peace is a lie. And he flashes back to his anchor, which is Sedge Vinvosh, the Dathomirian witch, who taught him the ways of the Force, or her ways of the Force at least, right? Let me just get the dice roller up.
Yeah, the dice roller link is in the lines and tabs.
Yes.
Lines and Bales tab.
Van. Okay, and
can I just be clear? Are you seeking solace in a relationship here?
Yes, I am. I'm
Fine.
seeking solace in a relationship.
So describe, reduce stress by 1, and describe what we learn about this witch.
And work my way through the prompts. Right. So where do they live? They live in on a frontier planet in Zinji's empire, where Van was part of the work detail, and she freed him from that. So she's sort of like the witch of the woods, living on a sort of like imperial penal colony kind of place, you know?
Okay. Okay, outside the walls.
Yeah.
She's out there again, sir.
Yeah. The dreams.
A shadowy figure stalking through the woods on this horrid place. Okay, Mark, roll a dice just in case 6 comes up.
It has not. It's a 2. So
okay, so
I lower
you
my
simply
stress.
mark your anchor as now having come to the attention of the conspiracy. And I think
Well-
it is literally that we see somebody on the perimeter of this penal colony, which I'm guessing is now, it's gone from full Imperial to Zinj control.
Yes, no, I mean, yeah, entirely. Yeah, it was perhaps even part of Zinj's domain as when he was just a normal Imperial admiral, right?
And I think that perhaps we see who the commandant or whoever is in charge of this camp in a darkened room. And we know that there's some kind of 3D projection behind him as he's talking to this, and he's saying, yes, I will certainly, yes, I'll discover as much as I can about her. Yes.
Yeah, a
Yes,
cloaked
sir.
figure,
Yes,
right,
sir.
with just a mouth visible through the hologram, and then just a little flickering image of Sejvin Vosh appears on a holo. Yeah, I love it.
Okay. Let's. I was going to go across, but does anybody want to step up and do secretly from the horror?
I've got one in mind.
Okay, Kit. Let's go to Kit.
Would it be okay if we make a stop in Kashyyyk, the Wookiee homeworld?
I'm happy to or flashback to the last time you were on Kashyyyk.
Yeah, I was going to try to merge that into learning more about the Sith too. So either way, I think you see me like talking to the elder of my tribe and being troubled by, what's happening with Van, that, he seems to be losing his humanity, reminding me of the Imperials during the wars, and asking my elder more about the Sith. So I'm trying to do, let's see, I'm trying to hit, look for guidance. If you see,
I'll be honest with you, look, that's not going to tell you anything about the Sith.
Yeah, but then I'm gonna spend an intel to then learn more about the Sith.
Okay. Well, can you keep that till we get into the briefing?
Okay, sure.
Yeah. You can pull them up on get in touch with them and ask them questions once we get into the briefing. Let's stick to Seek Relief at this moment. So okay. So reduce stress by 1. It's as easy as that, and just roll a 6-sided dice that you think likes you.
All right, let's do the stress die. Got a 4.
4+, mark heat and describe what they ask you to do to restore their belief in you, and how this draws the attention of the conspiracy to the team or makes things difficult for you during the next operation.
Maybe they ask me to pull Van back from the brink.
Give me something because I need to have a very clear yes, you did it, or no, you didn't. So is it?
How about stopping Van from killing anyone else?
I think that would work very nicely. And that's not forever, but that's in this operation. So stop Van killing anybody.
Okay.
That is what they want of you, and that will complicate. I'm making some assumptions here. I think that will complicate the operation. But have you got an idea for how this leads? How in any way this means that the conspiracy is slightly more aware of the team and what you're about? I've got something, but I just want to ask
go ahead.
I think that we probably cut to Kuth Arn, the operator that you reinserted by kind of putting some intelligence out there that covered her ass, given that she appears to have failed miserably in the mission she was sent on. And I think we see her again, a holo projector, a shadowy hooded Sith figure, probably the same Sith that you encountered briefly last time. And she is clearly explaining how, no, I can certainly help. No, you have to understand that it got more complicated because I knew one of them. Yes, a Wookiee from way back. And I think that explains why heat goes up a little bit, because in order to reinsert herself, she's had to let a little bit slip about you. I might reuse that if I need to.
Okay.
Let's go next. Korsha, do you want to seek relief from the horror, or are you comfortable at the moment?
I would like to seek relief from the horror.
What do we see?
I think what I'd like to do is look for guidance. And I think what that looks like is I'm going to get on the communications part of the ship. And we see like a little hollow kind of form up. And it's of, let me see if I can find, I'll look for an NPC at some point, but I think it's of an older gentleman who looks more rough for wear. And, you know, I'll come up with a name here real quick. His name is Stack Gladry, Gladri, Stack. I say Stack, you know, I just ran into something that I can't explain, and I know him. He's an old spy that has left the business. There's someone gave me feedback through, you know, my equipment. That shouldn't be possible. But you'd said that you'd run into something back in the day, and we all said it was like whispers and, you know, it was rumor and that you had been taking too much spice or something, and we didn't believe you. I didn't believe you. But I think what you said was real. And I didn't know that.
Let's have you roll that dice you think likes you. So I've got some idea of the way this conversation goes.
Okay. So I'm going to roll the gray die. And that's a 5.
4 plus Mark Heat, the same outcome as for Kit. So I think what he says is, oh yeah. Now you contact me. Now you come back to me. Now when, you know, I spent time on a psych ward after that, because not only didn't you believe me, nobody believed me. And now you come to me and you're asking the question, oh, what happened, Stack? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, look, kid, I might tell you more about that. But first of all, I want you to prove to me that you're not as full of shit as you used to be. I want to know what's going on. I want back in the game, kid. So the next time you get a juicy bit of intel, you come see old Stack. Okay?
Yeah, I see. You want some proof that I'm not just blowing smoke up you. So I got it.
So you reduce your stress by 1. I get to mark heat. Would you like to suggest how this exchange draws the attention of the conspiracy?
Sure. I think Stack is eager to talk and justify that he wasn't making things up, and he was like, oh, I just heard from an old friend who also, you know, ran into the same problems I did. It's not made up, and people believe her. And then it was like, oh, suddenly they could start putting things together and be like, oh, you know, Stack's connected to Corsia, and maybe that's, you know, where the heat's coming from.
And I think that the Athorian who serves at the drug den where we've seen Stack, we see the head go, and then, you know, the eyes blink, and he reaches for a communicator. Yeah. Lovely. What about Gar? Is Gar content, or does Gar want to seek relief from the horror?
I think Gar wants to use some intel, right? Because this is downtime. So
It is.
tell me if this is too out of bounds. This stems from, very, very brief, I promise, a thing that happened to me early in my work life. I worked at a call center, and it was a little dead. I was a manager at the time. Well, shift leader, team, whatever you want to call it. And I was just walking amongst the cubes, and one of the workers, headset on, had this like thick catalog opened up, and it was a catalog of automotive parts. And she was just, when I came by, she said, Rich, flipped open and said, look at these rims. Like, wow, these rims are a thing that I covet. I think that's what Gar's doing, is he's just like flipping through a data pad, but all color, little data pad of various accoutrements for the ship and speeder bike parts and that kind of stuff. Looking for what's the flashiest thing. Oh, this one's got strobe lights on it. Oh, wait, I'm a spy now. I can't have that. And that's how he's spinning some intel to reduce some stress. Is that cool? Oh, you're on mute, Alan.
Reduce your stress by 1 and reduce your intel by 1. Yeah, I like that. The idea of intel on the Sith conspiracy is access to a really cool catalog of automotive parts.
Intel is important all around, right?
Intel is good for many things. Okay, I like that. Okay, I think then let us just check if any of you marked your operator specialism benefit. There's, if you look on row 18, not 18, sorry, row 9, your specialism, you can mark it at the cost of stress, everything costs stress, to improve outcomes. But I don't think any of you did that last time. If you did, it clears every cycle of play. And also, you can go down and clear any of your gear. Yeah. And I am going to assume that you're all going to start like loaded. I will check in with you once you've done a bit of investigating, whether you want to go in heavier handed. So let us go to briefing for Operation 2. Now, I've put a couple of questions at the top of the Operation 2 tab. Why has the Adept gone to Taris? What will they do now the team have the crystal? Because you came away with a kyber crystal last time. But I'm open to you're going to Taris to find out where this takes you. Okay. So let me start. Where did I start last time? So let me start this time with.
You started with me last time.
I did. So let me start with Van. Van, who or what is the focus of this operation? Is that have you selected ancient item apparently worthless or priceless? Or
No, I have not, no. Because I almost, ancient item. The lightsaber handle that fits this kyber crystal.
Well, wouldn't that be interesting? Wouldn't that be interesting?
Does that feel good to everyone? Okay, cool. Let's go with that.
Okay. Well, do you want to just fill in the box next to it? Lightsaber, broken lightsaber or something. So we know it's not functional. Okay.
Alan, all the boxes have selections already. Should we reset those?
Are those
all? I'm guessing from another game you played.
Yeah, or maybe I was just testing that it worked.
I'll just set them back to default.
Thank you.
Then.
Thank you. So let me ask Korsha, where is this target? So this is going to be we know the what is the focus. Now, where are we going to see this operation unfold? For what it's worth, what I've learned about Taris, and thank you, whoever put that, I'm guessing you, Rich, told us lots of stuff about Taris. Thank you for that. Half the world, as far as I understand it, is reasonably still heavily urbanized, but a lot of it is overgrown with swamp and see behind, the lower classes live in all kinds of makeshift accommodation surrounded by swamps. I will admit that I'm quite interested in the wilderness as a contrast to the neon lit alleys of Corania City, but it's down to you, Stephen, on behalf of Corsia, to tell us where's the target.
And I should pick out one of these pull down lists.
They're there for inspiration, but yeah, pick one of them and then you can tell me something about it.
So I think it's a subterranean cave in the wilderness area where basically I think there's a lot of tunnels that used to be
don't fill in too much detail, because you'll have a chance to fill in some detail shortly. So make that initial selection of where it is and then add a bit of detail. Yeah. Let's move along then to Gar. What's the threat that you'll face? And basically, the further down this list you go, the more significant the threat becomes.
Okay. And this is wide open?
There's a drop down that gives you kind of tiers of difficulty, if you will.
There are? Okay.
Yeah. So if you go to Operation 2, you'll find
I'm
opposition.
in Operation 2, nameless, organized. Okay, I see it. So like stormtroopers, is that because this is Zinja's Empire? We could have some stormtroopers up.
You could have stormtroopers.
All right, that's what I want. There's basically, if we're down in the swampy potential area, then maybe there's a patrol of troopers in those cool, like the APC thing that I used to have when I was a kid, you know, but they actually had Mandalorian, so I was like, it's canon.
And this gives us the option of maybe I could give them heavy weapons, and AT-ATs could turn up.
You sure could.
So click that one and hit return, and it will fill the box with stormtroopers. And then I come round, Jason, on behalf of Kit. What are these stormtroopers doing? You know, again, there's a drop down. Select the closest for inspiration and give us a bit of detail.
All right. Let's see. I think they're providing security for a secret site.
Gee whiz, who'd have thought it?
Yeah. And
okay.
Hopefully it's where we'll find the broken hilt of Darth Roskan's lightsaber, the obsidian bird.
Wow. Okay. Let's do a bit of investigating and then we'll take a break. The more detail I've got on this, the better. So that's our outline. Now you have an opportunity to tell me how you find out some more about this, so you're perhaps conceivably better prepared on the way in. So let's again start with Van. Van, do you want to have an investigation scene now that shows you finding some more out about this, or do you want to hold and maybe get a bit of additional fictional positioning before the operation starts?
I would like to do some investigating of this cave system, this subterranean cave system, because it's the Undercity.
Yeah, exactly. I'm thinking that this is, because this used to be, what are they called? Ecumenopolis. This used to be a bit like Coruscant. Yeah. So there are layer upon layer upon layer of subterranean areas here. So yeah, fine. So what are you wanting to set me a scene?
I think it is a case of calling upon some of the contacts that I made when I first met Gar here on Taris, in the criminal underworld, some of these swoop gangers. I think maybe some of a group called the Zidhounds. And there's this Tals that I know. He's a criminal. He often travels through the Undercity, and he knows everything. And I'm calling upon my criminal contacts and all of the, that world, basically.
So you're on the ship, and you're communicating with this guy.
Oh, I mean, could we have landed and just be like?
I'm nervous about having you land already because somebody else may want to set this.
Okay.
Yeah.
can I go last then? And I'll just
Okay,
pick that up.
okay,
Yeah,
fine,
yeah.
fine.
yeah.
I'll come back to you.
Yeah.
Let's go instead to Korsha. Korsha, what kind of investigation, if any, do you want to do?
Yeah, so I think I'd like to do an investigation. And I think what this is I'm going to take advantage of my typical MO. I'm going to send in a mouse droid and infiltrate the garrison here. And this mouse droid is basically
okay, look, I tell you what, let me check in with Gar or Kit. Do you want any investigation to go on while you're on the ship? If not, I can cut to the planet.
Let's
Okay.
cut to the planet.
Yeah, let's cut to the
Oh.
planet. Yeah.
Fine, okay. Then Van, go ahead, do yours, and I'll work my way across to Korsha.
Okie dokie. Yeah, just because I don't like the idea of framing every scene over a comlink all the
Fine,
time, you know.
fine.
So yeah, I meet the Sid Hound in a dingy bar, and I get a 5 on the dice.
Okay, so you think that they can tell you something about these tunnels in the area that you've been pointed at? Yeah.
Yeah. And what he says is that, you know, this is an old area of the Undercity, you know, sealed away. The Imperials must have broken through those seals to get him.
Okay. Do you want to put that bit of that's your basic information. So it's in the Undercity, and it used to be sealed, and it's not sealed anymore. That's the core. That's what you need to proceed. So you now know exactly where you're going within limits. You also have one question you can ask me, or you can create a bit of fiction to add to this.
I would like to create the fiction that Wild Thing, of course, knows the perfect shortcuts and secret routes to get there on, say, swoop bikes, speeders, so like a route that's big enough for us to bring vehicles along if we wished for whatever, right?
Okay, so add to that then, there's a vehicle accessible route. Yeah? Fine. Right, Korsha, sorry. Garrison, mouse droid, tell me what's what.
Yeah, so I think this mouse droid is one that I have specifically built up, and it infects other mouse droids. So it'll go around, and what I'm looking for here is to get a map of the area, or the what's the right word? How often the patrols move around, where we might be able to slip by.
Okay. What I'm imagining is that the stormtrooper garrison is housed in that crashed freighter behind me, because there is actually a stormtrooper. So it seems too good not to make use of that. And there are crashed spaceships all over this place, apparently. So your mouse droid goes in there, and what you're hoping is they're going to give you more details of the space that you're heading for. Fine. Let's have you are using your spycraft, intrusion, surveillance, all of those together. So you're rolling with expertise. You can include the stress dice if you want it.
And I think I will. So
Okay.
I'll roll those 3 dice. When I rolled a 6 on the stress die.
So stress automatically goes up 3 to 4. But so the basic information, you have a map of the area, right? So narratively, you've got plans, but you can also ask me 2 things about this.
I think I'd like to know where the troops are focusing. So this is basically where they're patrolling or where they might be guarding.
Okay,
yeah.
So not only do you have a plan, but you know where the guard posts are. Yeah. So whenever we get to that point, I will not be having stormtroopers jumping out of shadows at you. You will know when they're coming up. So again, make a note of that in the location bit of this. And you have a second question because you rolled a 6. Or you can describe a benefit.
Does anyone have any ideas? Let's throw that out to the table.
I admit to have just been riffing on Taris stuff with Rich in the chat, so I didn't hear exactly what was said. I apologize.
No, it's fine.
We have a plan, and we know where the stormtrooper checkpoints in these tunnels are.
Ah, perfect. What sort of gear and stuff do they have? Like, what's their
Ooh, that's interesting.
There's a word for it, but you know what I mean. Like,
We could
manpower
define that
stuff.
they have like those scout troopers have those little like an Endor, the little bikes that they drive around in.
Yeah.
What this looks like is like on the screen. It's like, what if they requisitioned?
Fine,
Right.
fine. Then I can tell you, because I want to have them, I want a subterranean walker turn up here. So they have access to walkers. That the route in is sufficiently large for that. So
when we say subterranean walkers, can they like spider climb? You know what I mean? Like
well,
embed
you know,
into the walls?
let's not get carried away.
Okay,
Let's leave that for the audience to just
And
okay.
I think what this looks like on screen is we see this list come by, and there's this subterranean walker line that nobody's ever heard of before, right? That we're not sure what does this mean, and everybody's like, oh, that's crazy. Yeah. I have a mechanical question. From the 6 on stress, does intel go up?
Intel goes up, but you do not. It goes up because you rolled a 6. Didn't matter where it was.
Right. Okay.
Because your stress has already gone up. You do not have to roll for stress because you've got a 6. Yeah.
Okay.
It is that shit. What kind of walker is that? Yeah. Okay. Let's go to Gar. Gar, do you want to learn some more about what you're getting into here, or do you want to reserve for a bit of fictional positioning later on?
So I can spend intel and kind of make a declaration, right?
Well, because these are this is the briefing.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of asking me questions, if you choose to have an investigation scene, you can create fiction.
Yeah, so I could.
You can tell me the answers.
Declare. I could spend into. So
you don't have to spend intel to do it.
Oh
no! If you example, Korsha rolled a 6 and could ask me 2 questions, but decided instead to declare something that they'd found just because they rolled well.
Gotcha.
So in an investigation scene, you get to create a bit of you don't have to wait for me to answer it. You can defer to me if you want to, but you don't have to. You can say, I have discovered X.
Oh, so I could do something like, these are my stomping grounds. I'm sure that one of these stormtroopers, I know them.
Okay. Right? Okay. So frame me a scene then. How does this scene? What do we see on screen that
I think I'm looking over Korsha's shoulder as she's doing the mouse droid look, and she scans across a stormtrooper, and I'm like, I know that unit. Oh man, Rudi's in that team. Yeah, that's fine. This is great. Rudi and I go way back. This was the best. This is the best. He like pats Korsha's shoulder. Oh yeah, this is good. Oh, we got the hookup now. Rudi and I, it's fine. Whatever we need, we can make it happen.
So do we then screen wipe to you meeting Rudi in a local dive bar where when they're off duty, the stormtroopers hang out?
Yeah. Oh God, help me out, Will. What was that like kitchen-y place? If you can't remember, that's quite all right.
The place.
Sunshine.
There's Sonny's cafeteria in the town.
Yes. Sonny's cafeteria. By the way, subterranean level doesn't see the light of day. So Sonny's is a terrible name for it. Yes.
So Sonny's. So there's a couple of off-duty stormtroopers. How do they dress? What's underneath those white armor suits? Do they have fatigues? Anyway, they're sat at a table here. So Gar, talk me through what we see as you get into this scene.
Gar comes in and he waves. He knows a few people at Sonny's. He's kind of friended up with some of the Zid hounds in the past, so this isn't enemy territory for him as far as he perceives it anymore, unless something's changed, which of course it hasn't. Everything stays the same. It's all static. But he'll head in. He grabs a chair from another table, swings it around, sits on it backwards right beside Rudi. Rude, what is up?
Oh my God. God.
Oh, I know. I can't believe it. He reaches out, grabs his shoulder. He kind of does the exact same move he did with Korsha, except, side to side. That's his patented move, is the like shoulder grab friendliness.
I love that. But let's see if the dice roll will help us work out something about what Rudi's response is. So you're rolling the gray dice. You have expertise in persuasion. You are charming. We know this. So that gives you the orange dice. You can include the green dice if you want it.
Of course I want to include the green dice. We're dealing with stormtroopers. And I certainly hope, Alan, that your stormtroopers are a little more deadly. Just saying. Okay, here we go. Oh, I got a 6.
Okay, and it's not even on the stress dice. So nothing happens to stress you. So the basic information, I think, what is the basic information you need to proceed from Rudi?
Cool. So let me check in. Our operation, we're trying to get we're trying to retrieve an ancient item, the broken hilt thing. Right. Okay. So he says, I think the question is, Rude, listen, man, me and a crew, we're down here looking for something, and I just want to check in to make sure that I'm not getting in your way. So, what are you guys after down here? I mean, usually you leave this Undercity to its own.
Look, I should not be saying this, okay? But we go back a long way, Gar. Always a great fan, by the way. The simple answer to your question is, I don't know. It's just who goes down there?
You getting mushroomed again? Dang, man, that's not fair.
So all I can tell you is that I heard the CEO call them the Acolytes. Okay, Acolytes are what? I do not know. But we are here to provide security for the Acolytes.
Man.
So that's
a bunch
what you
of
need.
Rich upper city folks, he says dismissively, also fear growing.
So that's what you need to proceed. Now you can either create 2 bits of fiction around this. You can add to this in your, yourself, or you can ask me some questions. I'll fill in something.
I've got a bit of fiction I want to throw in, and it's just a kind of tag on to this, is that I could probably get Rudi to look the other way if we desperately need something. It may end up getting Rudi killed. I don't know, but
okay. Now that I think, the way we do this as an investigation scene is I think when Rudi's going to be on duty.
Yeah, cool. I like that.
So that then when we're in, there's a chance you can convince him to look the other way.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
I'm into that.
So you know the duty rotas, and you know when Rudi will be on duty. So there's one piece of information to add to your briefing. Do you want the second one, or do you want me to?
Does anybody have a question that they want asked of the this trooper?
Are there any acolytes in command?
Are these acolytes around, Rude?
They're down there. Whatever's going on is going on down there.
Dang, fair.
Okay, we're tasked with perimeter security. Okay, but they're down deep in there. Okay, deep. Okay, so I think the second thing we can add to our briefing then is that there are acolytes on site, and they are where you need to be. Okay, but now you rolled a 6, so mark intel, because something else Gar says is going to be worthwhile later. Okay,
but also
he says, and some of those acolytes, some of the guys say they seen him do freaky things. So
Sexy things?
Freaky things, like, you know,
Oh, okay. Just
make
checking.
stuff,
Just
make,
checking.
make stuff happen. Yeah, look, you know, I don't
Like
believe any of that.
Darth Vader, Poodoo?
Don't mention that fucking name, man. What? Gee whiz, Gar. You've been away too long, guy.
Sorry, man. Sorry.
God fucking Vader.
Too soon. Sorry, didn't know. It's been a year. It's been a year.
Just don't talk about that stuff, right?
Okay.
Nobody wants to
got
hear
it.
that anymore. Okay, we're just trying to get on with life.
Okay. Sorry. It's good to see you, man. Good to see you.
And as
Lays
you
out.
walk away, you're thinking, freaky stuff like Van did.
Yeah, that's totally what I'm thinking now.
Yeah, and that's enough to make you roll for stress.
Oh, snap. All right.
So the green dice, if it is 3 or more, stress will go up by 1. It has to be higher than current stress.
3.
So close. Stress goes up by 1.
Yeah.
So look, I think we are at that point where we have a fairly clear picture of this. I will check in with you after we had a break to see if any of you want to create an obstacle. But at this point, it's 8 minutes past the hour. Shall we get back together at 1:15?
I still have my investigation too, but let's
Oh,
do
you
that after the
do,
break.
you do. Can I do that after? Because I'm just conscious
Yeah.
I'm running well beyond break. Apologies, Jason.
No
Okay,
problem.
let me pause. Okay, back from our break. Let me go, because I forgot I'd started not at the end, so let me go back round to Kit. Kit, we have an investigative scene that I owe you, or do you want to reserve for a bit of preparation and fictional positioning?
No, I have an investigation in mind.
Okay.
So I think we see Kit in the bright upper city, and maybe I need to spend a stress or an intel to do this, but I'd like to be in like a scientific, like an archaeological society, and pouring through their records. They've been working to investigate these ancient Sith or Jedi sites that are found in the Undercity. So yeah, that's what I think.
Let's start with, yeah. There's an archive. Okay. That you can access. Yeah, it's not closed, it's not secure, it's an open archive. So this is using your research skill, so expertise. So you're rolling with that, plus the stress dice if you want it. Yep. Here we go. I got a 5 on the stress. Stress goes up by 1. And do you want to tell me the basic information you discover, that maybe there is a Sith connection?
Yeah, I think so. I think the basic information is that this will lead into, I want to spend some intel to start defining the Sith. So I think the basic information is that these sites are very interested to the current Sith conspiracy.
Officially, the Sith are gone, but the archive is just opening the box on there are Sith connections that go back in history on this planet. Right. Okay. So if that's the basic information, you have a question you can ask me or an answer you can declare.
Yeah, I think this is a question about the game. When I ran the game, I would let people use these questions to define aspects of the Sith. Do you want me to do that, or do I use intel just for that?
You can do that if you want to. I don't mind. You can ask me about these acolytes, for instance. You could fill in some detail on them, conceivably.
Right. I think that I find out, I'm going to use my question then to define that. I find out that the followers of, who was it again? Darth Roxon, is that the guy? They are, they're focused on tempting other Force sensitives to join the dark side. So tempt them with power. So let me, because you asked me to explain this. So if you guys go to the Sith tab, which is, I don't know, about 8 or 9, 10 over, there's a big page, and Alan already has put in our first Sith person we met, Sith Adept Song. So what you do is you can spend your intel to define aspects of the Sith. So to get to what we want to get to is to get a vulnerability so we can actually destroy the Sith. But to do that, first you have to spend intel to get a compulsion, then you have to spend another one to get a deterrent, and then you can spend an intel to get a vulnerability. So I'm going to start that out. Should I add this for the Sith Adept Song, or do you want me to add a line for the Acolyte?
I think that we're going to, my assumption is that she is one of these acolytes.
All right.
So let's treat them as consistent.
All right, so I'm going to select a compulsion then with my question to find out that they like to tempt people with power. I'll make a note that they tempt force sensitive to join the dark side. So they're compelled to do that. And then any of us could then later on now declare a deterrent and work our way across.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's what I'm doing.
Okay. So that's what your research reveals about them. Spot on. So those are our investigations done. I do now want to go back and ask the question whether any of you want to spend intel to declare an obstacle that you will face. It says in here, what do you want to be seen doing that could be cool? Describe an obstacle stroke complication that would frame that. So let me go to Van. Is there something that you want Van to encounter that would allow you to look cool? Or not? Do you have any intel? I should ask.
I have one intel, and there is definitely a whole bunch of things that I want. I would like Van to wield the obsidian burn against an acolyte.
That's
yeah,
not an obstacle. That's a hope.
That's a hope. Yeah, you're right. I mean, the obstacle is that I must engage in let's say the obstacle is I must fight my way past an acolyte.
Fine. So scratch your last intel and write, I must confront an acolyte. Yeah?
Yeah.
Let's go along to Korsha. Korsha, is there something that you want to spend intel on? One intel would buy you a moment of spotlight.
So I think, yeah, I'll spend an intel, and I think I'd like to sneak into someplace.
Okay. In terms of an obstacle you'll need to overcome, there's security that's not on the plans.
Okay.
Yeah, because that allows me to throw at you whenever I like, really. Yeah, or there's a barrier that's not on the plans. Okay, and you'll have to overcome that. What about Gar? Gar, is there something cool that you definitely want to be seen doing? And if so, what kind of obstacle would allow that scene to unfold?
Imperial Scout bikes chasing us. Yeah, totally. Speeder bike chase.
Speeder bike chase. Okay. As an obstacle, let's phrase it as evade speeder bike pursuit. Yeah. Okay. And then type that in there, reduce your intel by 1. So you'll find it on Operation 2, and there is a slot waiting for Gar Scribbs down there on row 8-9. You there?
Where do you want me to write it?
Okay, so if you go to Operation 2.
No, I'm there. I see Gar Scribbs.
I see.
What do you want to be doing that would be cool? Where do I write that? Just
you
type over top of it?
You overwrite that bit for Gar.
Okie doke.
Yeah. And finally, Kit. Intel to spend, or are you holding that?
I don't think I'll do an obstacle. I will define one more aspect of the Sith, though.
Okay.
I'll spend an intel to do that.
What else did your research reveal?
Yeah. Let's see. Let's get a deterrent. Deterrent. How about those of you that know Star Wars better, tell me more. Is there something maybe we could do with the kyber crystals that might deter the Sith?
Putting them at risk,
Maybe, yeah, because obviously they really
threatening to
wanted
destroy them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or there's the seeing the Force in action as a deterrent, and the detail or scope could be something like, you know, show them the power of the kyber crystals or whatever, right? Like,
Okay.
Well, look, I think if you look at that drop-down list now, if this new version works,
Risk to a crystal.
risk to a crystal has been added to the drop-down.
Okay. Yeah, let's do
I think
that.
that's an appropriate deterrent.
hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fine. Anybody else want to spend any intel at this point? Or are we gonna? Yeah, there's not a lot left. Okay, let's roll on. Screen wipe. Let me start with Van. What do we see first after this screen wipe that has the operation beginning?
I think it's a pair of Imperials on those walkers stomping through the undercity with their lights panning around, right, as they go through a tunnel. And then it cuts to them through those binoculars that Luke had, you know, like night vision versions of them that flick over to real, and you just see the silhouette, the lights of the walkers going around. And then Van with, you know, Jedi robe, cloak up, and then Commando kind of like, let's go.
Okay, so this is the perfect opportunity for me to say then, how heavily loaded are you, Van?
Mm-hmm.
And then you can declare those night vision binoculars.
Mm-hmm. I think I am. Heavy load has kind of like fictional implications for being slow, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah, so I don't think the Van's loaded up with stuff. Yeah, so he is medium loaded.
Okay, the only exception to that is we ruled last time that Kit can be heavy loaded and move as though medium, given that kind of bulkiness. What about Korsha? Light loaded, medium loaded, heavy loaded?
I think medium loaded.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fine. So just tick that box. You don't need to declare anything else at this point. And finally, Gar, light, medium, heavy?
What's the advantage for being light loaded?
To be
Just
honest,
don't show up.
In this context, not a lot, because it allows you to look like a civilian. And I think given the context we've got here,
Yeah, even a civilian down here is going to get in trouble. So
exactly.
I'll take medium.
Fine. So Van, we see, you gesture people forward. I am going to go to Gar next because I have to put you on speeder bikes, don't I? So
yes.
These walkers go past. The lights of Mark have gone on. You've got the signal from Van. What is the first we see of these speeder bikes? And are there 4 speeder bikes, or are you doubled up? Gar, what do we see? They're your vehicles to play with.
If they're my vehicles to play with, then I don't know if you guys have ever seen this, because I think it was just in the CGI Clone Wars, but they actually have an Imperial version. So there's obviously a commercial or like regular person version of a speeder bike with sidecar. So it's fucking hilarious. So one of those for Kit and Korsha. And then 2 regular, and Gar's brought out his like main, so it's he's got a few hastily magnetic like slapped on patches to hide all of the stuff that identifies it as his. I mean, it's his main ride, so it's covered with a bunch of hidden Beck paraphernalia and the like. And he's also turned off the little switch that has the cool like neon colors that go in cycles underneath it. So it's in stealth mode.
So Kit and Korsha, if Gar has managed to rustle up a sidecar, I have to ask which one of you is riding and which one of you is driving.
I think I'm riding. You want to drive, Korsha?
Sure.
my
because
hair
I
is
just
blonde.
love the idea of this speeder bike with what I imagine from the picture, a quite slightly built Porsche. And then there's this enormous Wookiee kind of overflowing the sidecar. Just in a silhouette, that's just delightful. And Van, you get one of your own, yeah? So we've seen the speeder bikes. So Korsha, tell me something about these tunnels, these, you know, this underground area.
So basically, I think that what we see is there's these tunnels, they drip with moisture. It smells kind of musky, but they're very spacious. They're very large. They've been, you know, it's odd that someone would build tunnels like this so large. So I don't really know what they're for. However, we see that the troopers here have put lights up along particular paths. But as we zip past on these speeder bikes, we'll see that there are tunnels that they haven't put lights up. They haven't explored that tunnel. So there are, you know, well-lit areas, and then there are areas that they just haven't gone through. Maybe that's, yeah.
Go on.
Maybe that's because the Acolytes told them not to. I don't know.
Kit, I'm curious if we've got some, you know, guide lights at least showing the routes that the stormtroopers take through these tunnels. How do we see you on your speeder bikes avoiding illumination?
Maybe we have to like hug the bottom, like the kind of work zipping through the stalactites, or is it stalagmites? I can't remember.
Tights go down.
Okay.
Mites run up the tights. That's how I remember it.
Yeah, so we have to kind of like zig and zag, you know, through these whatchamacallits.
Oh, well, that seems to be the perfect opportunity to determine how well this goes then. So Gar, I'm going to assume that as our expert in this, you're at the sharp end. You are leading them. Yeah.
So, I am the tip of the spear.
You are the tip of the spear, and you are trying to avoid these points of illumination. Yeah. So let's have you roll. This is using vehicles expertise, exactly what we want. This is, can you maintain your cover and not get spotted? So you're rolling gray dice and orange dice. You can throw the stress dice into it if you would like that.
Of course I would like that. Oh, 4s all around.
Well, you know, that's great. Sadly, the stress dice is high as or higher than any other dice, so stress goes up by 1. But otherwise, on a 4, your cover holds. They don't find you. You're just sailing through these areas. Okay, so now you know, Gar, don't you, that you know when Rudi's on duty?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So there is a checkpoint coming up. And you know that is the checkpoint where Rudi's going to be on duty.
Perfect.
So what are you going to do? What's your advice to the team, Gar? You are the tip of the spear.
Yeah, I know a guy who's about to come on shift. So if we want to get in here, we need to get through after shift change. Let's hang tight. We could ride right on through.
Do you actively want to persuade him to look the other way?
Of course.
Or do we flash back to see you doing that?
So if we flash back, I think it makes more sense. Like, I want to set this up. I don't want to.
Fine.
Yeah.
So all you're asking him is to be a little bit disorganized at shift change. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So screen wipe back to the Sunny Cantina cafeteria, where can you convince him? So again, you are charming. You're rolling with persuasion expertise. You can always add the stress dice. I will remind you, it is currently 4.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna not roll the stress die. It's probably the worst choice, but here we go. A 4 and a 2.
On a 4. So on a 4, I think that there. Yeah, I think that he says, if this gets me in shit, Gar, if this is like that time when you told me that that sidecar was safe, then I will hunt you down.
How was I to know that it rusted out, man? I didn't know that you would go sailing. Oh, I'm sorry. No, it's not like that at all.
And cut back to Kit and Korsha, as Kit notices that the connection is between the sidecar and the bike is maybe a little rustier than you thought when you got into this thing, because it is the same bike and sidecar.
Well, I mean, yeah,
that you dragged out of some, storage someplace. But yeah, there is some confusion, and you see one stormtrooper say, I think I saw something down that corridor. Come and check this out with me. And so into the darkness they go, leaving the checkpoint. So you can sail through that checkpoint. What happens next? Let's see. Let me play a complication, because you've left me with very few complications, guys. So I am going to play. It's a setup. Everything you've learned has led to you getting here into the conspiracy's crosshairs. And presumably Rudi just didn't know. But as you sail past the checkpoint, we hear the inevitable sound of speeder bike pursuit. Gar, this has not gone to plan. What are you going to do? Gar?
Okay, guys, we got to go now. sorry, but let's just pick it up. That he kicks in after drive. His speeder bike is way faster than the one Korsha's driving. So.
Well, then this is flee for your life. Can you escape the chase, Gar? So we're in flee for your life. Vehicles counts as expertise, and you can include the stress dice if you want to.
I'll do that. Aha! I don't gain stress, and I got a 6.
Okay, mark intel. For the 6 gives you intel. You succeed brilliantly. What can I agree with you? What extra benefit would you like? And what does that look like? How do you lose them, Gar?
Oh yeah, I think like there's a point in the swamp where we like go over a log, and then there's maybe like a branch that hangs low, and I duck down underneath it, and I call back to Korsha and Van, hey, you gotta duck down. But the speeder bike, like the pilot, the Imperial guy, he didn't see it. Scout trooper, and he's
well, fine. So scratch one pursuer. Yeah, fine, that works. But now I think probably next is Van. Van, are you gonna flee for your life?
I look over as Gar speeds across, right, and I look over my shoulder and I see Korsha and Kit's like bike chugging along like slower, right, as they maybe plow through some stuff that we've been nimbly dodging by. And I roll my eyes and I hit the brake and I spin around to face the oncoming stormtrooper, but speeder bike that's coming up behind them.
Okay, I will come back to you in a moment. Korsha, you're driving. Are you going to flee for your life, or confront them?
So I don't know how this will work, but I think what I'd like to do is I'd like to turn to Kit and say, here, take the wheel, and I want to jump on the other speeder bike to see if I can wrestle control of it. From one of the troopers.
Okay. So, so we see a Wookiee climbing out of the okay, I'm with you. I think I have to start with that because I need to know what's on the ground behind you when Van does a 180. So Kit, I think that this is rolling to do something else. And I have to say that while being big makes you strong, carries a load, I think this is a tricky maneuver for a Wookiee.
Yeah.
Center of mass being where it is. So I don't think normally I'd use your military fieldcraft as expertise. I don't think you have expertise working for you here.
No.
So it's gray and green if you want it.
Yeah, I think I'll just do those two. Here we go. I got a 5.
Yeah. So now, what does that look like, Kit? I have to see what this looked like.
Well, I think he like climbs out and he like almost loses his grip, but he has to kick against like the sidecar, and the sidecar just breaks off and goes tumbling away.
Okay, no coming back from that one then. Okay,
No.
so the Wookiee's in place, Korsha. You're standing hands on shoulder, I'm imagining here.
Okay.
Yeah. And you know, this speeder bike is coming up and you know, pew, 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 pew. But of course it misses you because this is all about whether you can make the jump. Are you going to jump at the front of it or ask Kit to slow down so you can jump side to side? What do we see?
I think side to side.
Okay.
I think this has actually slowed us down a little bit, you know, as we're swapping drivers, and yeah.
And cut to Van as he 360s, and you know there's a tumbling sidecar, which we'll come back to in a moment. Korsha, let's have you roll to make the leap. I can't see any expertise at work here, I have to tell you, unless you've got something in mind.
And so I will roll with my die, and I'll add the stress die, but I think these are the kind of risks I've done before, so I'm going to spend an intel to reduce my stress by 1.
Fine.
Could she use like a drone to like carry her over to that? Would that get the expertise in there?
That might work. That might work. If we see you kind of hanging on, you know, you put a hand on this drone, a hand on that drone, and jump, I would give you expertise.
Okay, so let's do that. I think instead we have a drone has flown up, and I use it like a stepping stone to jump off of. Yeah. So let's see what that looks like. So
What
I'm going
could
to roll
go
that. Wrong? And a 5.
Nothing can go wrong. Stress doesn't go up. You make the step, you make the leap, you are on the speeder bike.
Mhm.
Van, you've 180'd just in time to see all of this happen and to see this sidecar cartwheeling towards you. I think that now I need to see you avoid that oncoming obstacle. So vehicles expertise?
Don't have vehicles expertise, no.
Anything else you think applies here? Because I'm struggling.
No, I don't. This is what I get for trying to help people out. There are no other stormtroopers or anything chasing us?
Yeah, there were 3 speeder bikes. We took one out
Okay.
when Gar lured it under a log. We've just had another one Korsha's leapt onto. That leaves a 3rd one.
Okay. Right, well, I'll just try and dodge this thing anyways. I will just roll the dice, the one dice. That's a 5.
You do it. You avoid it. And I think you're now going back towards them. The trooper will try to 180 and try to chase you down. So Kit, you're on the bike. Korsha's on the other bike. Kit, are you going to hang around or are you going to flee the scene?
How many opposition pursuers
2 more
are there?
bikes.
2
The
more?
one that Korsha's on and the one that is now chasing Van.
I think I'm gonna pull out my bowcaster and try to shoot the other one, or one of them at least.
Well, okay. Look, there's one next to you with Korsha on. Let me resolve Korsha. I'll come back to you.
Okay.
Korsha, you've leapt across. You know, this guy is, you know, has a blaster pistol. What are you going to do, Korsha?
Yeah, I want to assassinate this guy, basically. I want to just like crack him or see what I can do.
So this is, you want to take him out?
Yeah.
And do you want him off the bike? Do you want him dead on the bike? What's the outcome you're seeking here?
I'm thinking dead on the bike.
Fine. Well, that informs Kit, who maybe doesn't want to leg it into the distance until you've got rid of him. So I think that, let me think. I think that you are using hand to hand, so you have expertise. I think that you are at risk, but I think this is a very dangerous stunt. So I'm going to ask you to roll 2 risk die.
Okay. And
stress die if you want it.
I added it in.
Look at that. Oh, a
Okay.
6. Wow. So the guy is, how do you take him out? Because he's only got 1 stress.
I think this is the typical scout trooper that we see, and I just grab that helmet, and I know which way that helmet bends from my past, and I just make sure I move that helmet in a way it bends, but his neck doesn't, and he goes
Fine.
limp, and I'm then going to grab the control handles, and kind of move off to the side, so I'm out of the way of any shots that the rest of them do.
Okay, so the benefit you're going to get for that 6 is you are no longer in any danger. You don't have to flee the scene. You are safe.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. And you catch up to Gar somewhere down the road. But yes, do remember to mark intel for that 6. Yeah. But also, that was a bit freaky. 6. Roll for stress. Oh.
So I rolled the stress die and I got a 2.
And it would have to be more than 3, your current stress, to go up. So no problem. Wow, she is cold. And into the distance, catches up with Gar. Van.
Well, I dodged that pod and then slammed right past the other pursuing trooper, peeling him off from the other 2, leaving him wide open for Kit to draw a bead with that bow.
Okay, let's see if Kit can take him out before you need to evade him. Kit?
Okay. All right, so I'm going to declare a bowcaster, which is auto, so I need to declare a contact to provide it.
No, I'm not going to make a Wookiee spend for a bowcaster. Come on,
Okay.
I have a degree of narrative respect here.
All righty, so I will just shoot then. I think I get all 4 dice.
I think you do get all 4 dice if you want them, but you are at risk. You are at risk, so you're at risk for 1 dice, and I think you are riding and fight and shooting. So I think that makes two risk die at work.
Okay. All right, here we go. I got a 5 on the stress.
Stress goes up by 1, but you succeed. What does this success look like?
I could just shoot the guy, or do I shoot the bike? Let's shoot the bike. Let's have the bike go shoot the end, the stabilizer or whatever, so it goes woo, spinning off into a stalagmite or something.
That's fine. And the 4 on the wrist die doesn't mean you take any harmful consequences as a result. Van, you are home free without having to do anything else. So there's no need for you to flee. You can just catch up with the others.
Yeah, I think that's just the shot of us all kind of zoom, 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 going up the corridor as it explodes behind us in fire, right?
Fine. And I'm just looking. We are just coming up to 10 to the hour. It occurs to me we should take a slightly early break, and then we can play through, because that's a nice break, I think. So should we be back in our seats at 5 to the hour?
Yep.
See you then. Okay, we're back, and I think I'm going to screen wipe. We've gone through those upper levels where bits of the swamp have begun to fill the corridors, and where there were tree branches and roots infiltrating these passages and tunnels. But now I think we're down deep in the Undercity, in a bit of the Undercity that, according to cautious research, this is not a place people have been. Whether that's because of superstitious reasons or any other reason, who knows? But nobody comes down here. And I think that is when, and we also know from the complication that they know you're here and they think they've drawn you here, right? And I think that what we see is, as you were making your way through these tunnels on the bike, there's something flickering ahead in the distance that begins to resolve into an energy barrier. I'm imagining that one of this corridor, this passageway, this, maybe 30 feet high, 30 feet wide, just has these lines of force blocking the way forward. This Korsha, I think, is something that you need to get past that was not in any of your prep. So Korsha, the spotlight comes to you. What are you going to do?
So I think this isn't normally, this division isn't normally visible. But Korsha's taken that trooper helmet off and put it on so she can see the heads up display and knows this is coming up and tells everyone we need to come up short. Stop here. Korsha, just because I like it, I'm actually going to dress in the trooper armor, right? And I'm going to take that as a disguise, just in case something comes up. And I think I'm going to look, trying to get a lay for the land to see if there's any other troopers around here. So I'm literally going to just stride up and start looking around to see if there's any other troopers around here, and then start looking for the controls and how to shut them down and all of that. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to have Gar Scribbs reduce stress by 1 because Gar Scribbs does say, "Aren't you a little short for it?"
Yeah.
Thank you.
Do you get to
couldn't
reduce stress by doing Star Wars quotes?
No, but only that once because it came up in the chat, and I have to credit it in the chat. Never happened again. Now I'm back in ruleful. So Korsha, yeah. So look, according to all the evidence you've got, the stormtroopers were doing perimeter security. They were stopping people getting this far. It looks like either they've allowed you or you have got this far. So I don't think that there are any stormtroopers in the vicinity. But
Yeah.
Do you want to investigate the area to see if there's anything else of interest?
Yeah.
Okay, let's have you roll to investigate. I will. Surveillance will count. So you've got expertise. Include the stress dice if you'd like it.
Okay. And specifically, the kind of thing I'm looking for is just a way past, or maybe who set this up. What other things might be in our way. So let me roll that. And I got a 6.
6. Okay. The basic information you need to proceed is yes, there is another there's a passageway going off at right angles to this. That you think, based on the plans you've got, if you followed that, it would take you around this energy barrier. Yeah.
Okay.
It is a 6, so mark intel. And are you going to take that route, or do you want to ask me some questions about it? Because you've got 2 questions you can ask me if you want it.
So I think that I'm going to take the route, but I'm going to have everyone stop here, right? I'm going to see if I can't come back around. I think I can come back around and take the long way in order to turn off this barrier.
Okay. You think you can get
So I
around
think
the
that'll
back
be
of it?
one of them.
You can get around the back of it, and there's a control panel that you think will turn it off for a power supply. Fine, I love that. So that is true. There is another question or another bit of declaration you could agree with me if you were keen to do it.
The other declaration is, now that we know, we kind of have a map of what these tunnels look like. I think that Korsha analyzes to see other potential choke points or potential trap points where something might be held for them. Because obviously the troopers didn't know about this, so maybe the Acolytes have set up their own little traps, and she's specifically looking in this plans where something like that might happen.
Okay, I mean, this does look suspicious. It feels to Korsha like you're being funneled down this corridor in order to get around to this power pack. And so from Korsha's point of view, it makes sense not to risk everyone in that corridor. Yeah?
Yeah.
That doesn't mean the other operators won't take the risk. Gar, do you follow Korsha despite her advice?
Actually, she wasn't mean and angry about it, so it must be serious. I'll listen to what she says.
Kit, follow the advice. Okay. Van, follow the advice and stay put.
Stay put.
Okay.
I was going to say, I think the way this looks on screen is she comes back around.
Oh, hang on.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Korsha disappears into the corridor, into the darkness. And cut to Korsha, as you make your way down this, it would be trickier to get the bikes down here, but it would be doable. But are you on foot or are you riding that bike?
Well, if it's trickier to get the bikes there, I think I leave the bike behind then.
So you
and
can
I'll
make
do it on
a
foot.
stealthy. Okay. Who's likely to spot this? I think I go to Kit. Kit, would you roll to investigate, just because you're keeping your military tuned eyes about you? So you're rolling with expertise, stress dice if you want it.
Sure. 6 on the stress.
Stress goes up by 1. And your Wookiee hearing picks up something mechanical gearing up. Yeah. And I think that means you're not surprised when that unfolds from the ceiling. So flip it upside down.
Can I have the added benefit be that Van and I have gotten sort of like an Overwatch position, you know, kind of anticipating it coming?
Fine. Mark intel. But yeah, this spider walker that we heard of in the briefing unfolds from the ceiling and begins to scuttle along the ceiling towards you as those blasters draw a bead on you with the energy barrier behind you and an escape route, inverted commas, that will be tricky to take the bikes down, and you wouldn't, of course, be able to take Korsha's bike. So you are in that Overwatch position. That illustration may ring some bells from people who go back far enough. But Kit, you are our military mind here. You are in Overwatch. What do you do?
Is this a droid or is there people inside of it?
I think that because we describe it as a walker, I think there are people inside it.
So yeah, I think I'm going to take just like a brief little cutscene where I put my hand on Van's shoulder and I say, let's not have this go like the last time we fought against the Imperials. And there's like a flashback to, like, if this works for you, Will, let me know. A flashback to like an Imperial transport with like dead stormtroopers all around and Van with a bloody knife. So
are we doing a reveal your history together?
I think we're seeing some history be revealed here.
So I'm going to put Van as member I care least about. I saw that Will put me in on his, so I had
a now that you've put me as yours, I might change it over to Korsha, just so we don't have complete
love-hate.
Yeah.
All right. Then I'm going to go ahead and reduce my stress by 1, and I'm going to roll a single die, the stress die. I got a 2.
Say why you feel bad about the event you're remembering. You cannot use your expertise until stress goes up again, or choose to add something about your anchor to your recollection and mark your anchor instead.
I think I'll take my expertise off, cannot be used, and I'll say it makes me feel bad. I just feel sad because I see Van's decline and there's nothing I can do to stop it. Even though I'm saying to him, like, let's not have this happen again. In the back of my mind, I know that's exactly what's going to happen again.
Comfortable with that, Van?
Oh, yeah, totally.
Fine. So we've had that moment. Gar, over the comms, are you seeing what we're seeing, Gar? What do you do, Gar?
Thank Ferric. Wow. It's aware of us, or it's just moving?
Oh, it feels like a trap now because it's moving towards you with your backs to this energy barrier.
Oh, this is great. This is great. I'm gonna try to give us some covering fire because I know Korsha is doing a thing. So I did bring my speeder bike. Yeah.
Do you take cover behind the bike? Because are you putting the bike at risk?
Yeah.
Or are you hiding behind Korsha's bike?
I'm worried about Corson's bike. That thing was a piece of crap. So I'll like spin the speeder bike around and open up with a couple of the vehicle lasers in hopes that, you know,
Okay.
I can hurt it.
Let's have you roll to confront them. So
Oh my.
are you trying to distract them or just hold them off? Because you know, or do you want to destroy it?
I don't think I can destroy it.
Okay.
That's not my expertise. I'm not a big Wookiee with a bowcaster.
Okay.
I think I'm trying to distract them, right? Because if I can get their focus on me, I can take off out of here and they're free and clear. So that's my plan.
Fine. Do that thing. Expertise counts. And stress dice if you'd like it.
I am not going to use stress die. And I really should have figured out a way to release stress there. All right, here we go. 5
on a 5, you know, pew pew pew. And what do we see when you get their attention, Gar?
Oh, I think that the blaster bolts are enough to rattle it, but they do glide off the hull. And then when it sees me, like I remember seeing it, like it's got that little turret in the front, right? Like so, the turret goes and choo 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 choo.
Pew, 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 coming to picking across you. Okay, I think I know what Kit's going to do, but I'll ask Van first.
I'm happy to let Kit take the lead on this.
Okay, yeah. Kit. What do we see you do? Because this is hanging from the ceiling, you know, scuttling towards you.
Oh, it's on the ceiling. Well, I guess I'm going to jump and try to grab the hatch, which is on the top of it, and which is now on the bottom of it because it's upside down.
Yeah.
And either use my blaster or just pull it off, whatever is most realistic, to try to, you know, get at the soft insides.
Okay, let's have you. I think military fieldcraft is the closest we have to an athleticism expertise. Let's have you.
Let me burn an intel to get my expertise back.
That's true. Well spotted.
I'll burn you can do that. You can burn an intel to get your expertise back. So I'll do that. So then I'm gonna roll with. Is this like confront them, or is this?
No, I think this is just to make the jump and be in a fiction, put you in the right fictional positioning.
Okay, so I will include my stress. I got 3 dice. Is there any risk?
No, I never put the risk die in unless you are you're confronting.
Okay.
Oh,
perfect.
Tell me what this looks like, for goodness sake.
So maybe the 6 gives me that ability to get that hatch open.
I think that's true. Yeah. So grab with one hand to some kind of beside it, and the other one just tear the hatch open. Yeah. Okay.
And I think it's they got black armor. These stormtroopers inside.
Of course they have
black armor, and they got like almost like the TIE fighter pilot helmets, like scary looking ones.
Yeah, because they must have black armor because they're supporting the Acolytes. They're inside the white armor ring. So you are in position to do some harm here. Let's cut to Korsha. Korsha, you've come around, and you know, as you come out of the tunnel, you hear the blaster fire. You can see the folks are now taking fire from this thing. You need to get that energy barrier down, Korsha, and you need to do it quickly. What do you do?
So my original thought, you know, was to come up, and I think I actually have my hacking information out, my hacking materials out, where I could like bypass it and be all stealthy and stuff. And I'm like, you know, I see the fight going on the other side, and I'm just going to, take the switch and, literally power it down, so that, of course, they know we're here. They already knew we were here. Yeah.
And now you know they knew you were here. So I think this is rolled to do something else with technical expertise. The intrusion expertise is there. Let's hope it's not booby trapped. So this is with expertise, stress dice if you'd like it.
And would you like for me to roll any risk dice?
No.
Okay, so I'll do that. I got a 6 on the stress.
Right. Okay. So this is going to work. You're going to be able to turn it off. But the thing is that once you let it go, it will explode. So the idea is you turn it off, people speed through it, you let go of it, bang. So stress is going to go up. The And what are you going to do now?
So
Barrier's gone off, folks, just so you know.
yeah, but I'm stuck here for now. Oh,
You
I'm gonna spend basically I'm gonna have a droid come over and hold on to the switch to make sure it's down. Should I spend the intel to do that?
no, I think that's going to require you to have quite a hefty droid along. So I'm going to have you call on a technical contact. So it's going to cost you stress.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a degree to which they're interchangeable at this point, but you know, because you can spend intel to reduce stress. But stress to call on a contact, you have a technical contact who has given you one of these heavy-duty droids. Maybe it's got magnetic, you know, I don't know. Yeah.
And I think this contact, it was some of the information that I found previously back on the ship. We see a little bit of a flashback, and this is an old deactivated security droid that they were using in these tunnels, and I can get access to it for him to, you know, Roger, Roger, and it'll come down and hold down the little
one very big hand.
Yeah.
Gar, you know, the fire is tracked towards you. I think I do need you roll now to confront with some risk die before you can escape. So you are going to be rolling with expertise as long as it's available. It is. You can have a stress dice if you like. You're rolling one risk die because you're at risk, another one because it's a heavy weapon. So you're rolling 2 risk die and expertise, orange, gray, green if you want it.
I'm sitting at 3 stress, so I will go ahead and
Take the risk.
take the risk. Here we go.
Oh,
I didn't need to, but
it's a
that's pretty sweet.
6. It's not on stress, so this goes fantastically in terms of you know, you continue to attract its attention, despite the fact there's now a Wookiee hanging off the bottom of it. The blaster fire is still coming towards you, but it's doing no harm at all. It is not going to be a problem to anybody else, and it doesn't do you any harm either. The perfect outcome.
Yes, I love it. And I'll mark and tell.
Indeed. And then roll for stress because you just noticed there's a Wookiee hanging off the bottom of it.
Okay.
I mean, you could have hit
Aha!
him.
A 1.
Oh, wow.
It's fine. He
Who
planned it.
cares?
I trust
He's
him.
a
He's
a
good at this.
Wookiee. He's fine. He's fine.
He's tough.
They're
tough.
Let's go to Kit. Now you are going to confront, I guess. Yeah. What do you want to happen? What's your end point for this?
I'm gonna hang with one arm and I'm gonna reach up and try to grab them and pull them out and just drop them to the ground. With
Of course you are.
They'll scream or something.
Okay, so I think you have expertise available to you. I think you are at risk, and technically you are outnumbered up there. So I'm going to make you roll 2 risk die and stress dice if you want it.
Yep. So I got all 4 dice plus 2 risk die. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, where's the best?
Interesting.
And I do have a consequence.
Okay, so the green die means that stress goes up by 1 automatically, but you succeed. That's what matters. So we see you pulling these guys out, but as one of them is falling away, you know, a blaster could hit you. The risk die is equal to or higher than your best die. So let's have you roll any d6 to see what harmful consequence they are pawns. They are nameless pawns. So you're going to add 3. Okay. So it's not going to be terrible.
Right. Ooh, and I got a 6.
Oh, okay.
So
4 plus. Lucky this time it hurts, but you'll live. But on a natural 6, mark intel.
Nice. So yeah, I think he just singes some of my fur. Yeah.
And you know, you drop to the ground and maybe just stomp on the survivor.
Well, I was thinking I would climb in and take over.
Oh my. We squeezed you into a sidecar. I see no reason why we can't squeeze you into a spider crawler. So Korsha has a plan to stop this exploding. And so screen wipe, to Korsha, Van, and Gar on their bikes, with Kit driving the walker behind them. Yeah. And that's where the Acolytes hit you. So we're going to now encounter the Acolytes. The first thing, Kit, you know about it is when you hear someone land on the upper hull of the crawler. Gar, I think again you're the best driver here. I'm going to put you out front. So let's have you roll to investigate to see whether you get any warning of this. So you're rolling. Oh no, sorry, it should be Korsha. She's got surveillance. Korsha, you roll with expertise to see whether you spot this threat coming. Stress dice if you want it.
I'll do that. But first, if you don't mind, I'm going to spend intel to reduce my stress.
Fine.
And this is simply on screen. This is, I'm very businesslike. This is my job. This is what I do. So I'm very focused. Yeah. Is there a limit to how much I can spend?
No.
Okay.
But the only limit is whether you might want to do something with that intel once it's spent.
I had I had 5 intel, so I'm going to spend 3 of it, and yeah, it should be good.
Okay. So let's have you roll to see whether you spot the next trap coming.
That's right. So this is going to be the 3 dice. Let me roll that. And I got a 6 on the stress die. Good thing
you guys are giving me no quarter today. So stress goes up by 1, but this is a perfect outcome. There is a trap ahead. You know that these are Acolytes.
Okay.
Do you want to ask me 2 questions?
Actually, I think what I'll do is I'm going to go to the Sith tab and I'm going to choose something I know about them.
Something you spot on the basis of what you see.
Yeah, and I'll add a vulnerability of they're vulnerable to the Force. So if you use the Force on them, they're going to we'll let that figure out in story-wise, but I think they're vulnerable to the Force.
Fine.
And so is that one of, should I spend intel for that, or is that
no, I will allow you to ask me what vulnerability have you spotted, or have you learned of them. And another question?
So I can let everyone else know that there's a trap coming up.
So no one gets surprised.
So no one gets surprised, but I think we can also make it look like, basically turn the surprise back on them. Make it look like we're just heading on into danger, but we've got something set up so that we can, whenever they pop the surprise on us, we can then dump a surprise on them.
Fine.
Yeah.
So Kit, let me rephrase that then. The first thing you're aware of, that there is an Acolyte on the ceiling above you, ready to drop on you, is when Korsha says, just look up. What do you do now that you've spotted them and they think they have surprise, Kit?
I'm going to tip the droid up and open up on them with these heavy blasters on this thing. I'd like to declare, I think I probably would declare a contact, maybe to get a piloting ability, at least for 1 roll.
Okay. Let's assume that you maybe somebody's given you a plug-in, some way to override the controls.
Right.
Yeah.
I think it's
that would give you vehicles for this scene.
Right. It's going to be this lady named Ellie Rocto, a Chiss female. I'm put in as a pilot, or would something else be better?
A tech. Whatever you like. Whoever might have that kind of kit.
Okay.
That means that this walker now would be quite difficult for a Wookiee to control. It took 3 humans, after all.
All right. So I'm going to shoot at them. Is there a risk?
I think there is a risk. They are armed with vibroblades and blasters. So I think that there is a risk. And I think that, so I think it's 1 risk die at this point, because you've got the edge.
Do we get the deadly die also on this?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Whenever you try to kill things,
6 on the stress.
stress goes up by 1. You apply 2 stress to this acolyte
Right.
as
What
they
did we-
drop up towards you.
What
Yeah.
did we declare the vulnerability is vulnerable to the force. Okay, so to finish them, we have to use the force. Okay.
Yes. Yes. Well, I mean, what you've done is to declare the vulnerability of the Sith. If they are Paka Sith, then that's their vulnerability, but it'll carry over. Let me go next to Van, because I think Van, at the point Korsha gives you the head up, probably the force sensitive ought to go next.
So we've moved our way through the tunnels and the swampy area and all of that. Can we sort of frame it as coming into these like ruins, you know, like these sort of odd, you know, like a space there kind of thing, and then like, you know, the acolytes attack us as we enter into the sort of like the dig or whatever it is, right? And I would like, you know, the Imperials have been searching and searching for this hilt, and something about this, you know, reach out with my senses and I try and locate this, leaving the acolytes to the others. So I would like to sense things.
Fine. So let's have you roll to investigate using your perception sense.
Uh-huh.
So you have expertise.
I have
Stress die
expertise.
if you want it. You are at risk because there is an attack going on.
Yes.
So you might.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
it is reasonable for me to ask you to put a risk die in this.
Yeah.
time.
That is a tied 3, which means that I fail, right, according to the force rules.
Yes.
Unless I spend a stress and I can re-roll by calling on my contact. Who,
Remembering, you know, use the force, man.
yes, use the force fan. I think it's more prosaic than that, and I think it is a dealer who has supplied me with the kind of you know, the herbs and mists and sacraments that will allow me to attune the force better, kind of thing.
Well, yeah. Do you want to do that, or do you just want to mark your specialism?
Oh, I could just mark my specialism, couldn't I? I
Because
apologize.
you
Yeah.
always say you forget to do it, so I thought I'd try
Yeah,
to,
no.
head
Thank you
off
very
there.
much. That's definitely what I want to do. I mark my specialism so I succeed.
So it costs you a stress, so it's no more or less than the dealer, but
it guarantees a success, rather.
It guarantees a
yeah.
successful effect. It doesn't change the dice roll, but it does. So I'm going to mark a bit of heat because now they know something about there's a force sensitive here. But yeah, it's down there. And yes, I think probably we see that they've been burrowing through layers of the Undercity. And there's this kind of stepped inverted pyramid almost of a hole going down.
It's like just Van's eyes, like, you know, perceive what this was once like, right? When the skies above were tall and red and Sith ships filled the skies above, and chanting robe figures lined the way up to the top where someone held this lightsaber above, and now it just flicks back to the ruins. And Van just growls out to the others, hold them off, and then guns it straight towards there.
Okay, so we know what Kit did. Gar, what do you do when these acolytes kind of leap at you?
Hold them off? I'm on my speeder bike, man. These guys start jumping down. I am zipping away and trying to come with a space where I can light them up.
Okay, let's see if you can avoid their leap or whether they will successfully jump on the back of you. So I think you are rolling to do something else with expertise because you have vehicles expertise.
Yeah.
Stress die if you want it. If this fails, one of them is going to be on the back of the bike.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Can I like have spent some of this copious amount of intel I've got to have cured a stress at the same time that Korsha was being all super cool and professional? I think mine is just the intel. just taking it in, man. This is great. This is super exciting. Gar is into this. This is heroic. I can't wait to tell people about this. Oh wait, I can't tell anybody. All right. I will use stress there now that I cleared that. Here we go. 6 on the gray.
6. So you do avoid the leap. What's the extra benefit you want to get?
I think I just barely avoid the leap to where they end up losing a little bit of balance because the grav inducer on the speeder bike like throws them off balance and they're at a disadvantage. So maybe I can fire on them first.
Fine. So yeah, I let's give them a bit of stress. Let's apply some stress to them to make them easier to kill. So that's fine. That uses up the armor that they're wearing. So they don't have the protection of their armor. That one doesn't have the protection of their armor next time around. Korsha, what about you when one of them jumps at you?
I think so. I'm flying along, and one of them jumps towards me to land on the speeder. Great. I think this is easy. I'm flying along. I've kind of set all this up. As soon as I expect it to jump out, I know it's there. I'm moving at a slow enough pace. I know I can jump off, and I've locked the controls aiming towards a wall. Right? So I'm going to jump off and see if I can't run it into a wall.
Okay, so you don't have any vehicles expertise.
No.
So you're just rolling the grey die. I think you are at risk given the plan you've just described to me.
Oh yeah.
And I think it is a significant risk. So I'm going to make you roll 2 risk die without expertise, stress die if you want it.
Okay, so let's talk mechanically what I can do. I could call in a contact to bring in vehicle expertise.
You could, if I to be honest, I'm struggling a bit. We're back to Kit having some sort of specialist drone expertise that's driving the bike for you.
And then what about marking the specialist? What does that allow you to do?
All that allows you to do is to improve the outcome by 1 step for something that a tech could do, and this doesn't seem to fit.
Okay. So as far as let's just roll a dice. Let's see what that looks like.
Okay.
Okay, so I got a 6 on the gray die.
God, you guys, this is super heroic. So on a 6, you do miss. They do land on the back. You do get off safely. You don't take a harmful consequence. What would you like the extra benefit to be, Korsha?
They're caught unaware whenever it runs into the wall. So is that a extra point of damage?
I think so. I think their armor will take 1 of the points of damage, but I was going to give them 2. So they are they kind of reel away from the explosion, slightly stunned. Kit, let's come back round to you. What do you want to do next?
This might be complicated. I'll have you parse this out for me. I'm going to recall, a cutscene back when we were preparing, and well, first of all, I'm going to spend an intel to declare another vulnerability of the Sith. I'm going to declare that they are vulnerable when they're in the presence of sabre crystals.
Okay.
I'm not sure what we'll say vulnerable to the Force, and I'll put in kyber crystals. Oh, I guess we already have vulnerable to the Force. Would kyber crystals be considered the Force?
I mean, this is Star Wars lore above my level of qualification, but I think they have to be attuned, don't they?
Yeah. So let's just say even to raw kyber. I'll spend the intel to declare a new one.
Okay.
So raw crystals can make them vulnerable.
So I have a mechanical question while we're doing that, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Sure.
So once we've defined any compulsion and deterrent, then you can start declaring vulnerabilities?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I came up with raw crystals as a drop down, so now you can just detail its scope if you want to.
Okay.
So that is now a truth in the game.
And then I was going to do a flashback to me and Korsha on the ship. And if this works for you, Stephen, and maybe I have to spend an intel to make this happen, but to have one of your droids have like a little container that it pops open, and the kyber crystals are inside of it.
Yeah, no problem.
So we see going back and see the two of us working together to create this. So I'm going to use that as a declare something about our relationship, because you're my most liked person in the group.
Okay.
So I'm going to reduce my stress by 1 and roll a single die.
You are.
I'll roll the stress die. I got a 2.
Cannot use your expertise until stress goes up again, or involve your anchor somehow.
Yeah. I think I'll just take the can't use my expertise, but I'll immediately spend another stress or another intel to get it back.
To get it back. Okay.
And reduce my stress. Then in the moment, and this might be actually a role for Portia to do, maybe have that droid be near the acolyte that I'm going to shoot at, so that I can actually finish it.
I'll come back to you then.
Okay.
Gar, you avoided that one. He took a bit of a bump on the way down, but this is Star Wars. He's going to keep coming at you and firing at you unless you do something about it.
Of course he is. I would expect no less. I'm going to light him up using the vehicle weapons.
Pew, 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 pew.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So let's have you roll with vehicle expertise, which is available. There it goes. Stress dice if you would like it.
All right.
I am going to say that this is 2 risk die. Because
I'm definitely going to use the stress die then.
Okay then.
Oh, a 6 on the stress die. So the stress goes up.
But so does Intel.
Indeed.
And you do light him up. He is going to crash and burn this time. Because this is a vehicle weapon. Describe what we see.
I think it's a thing where he reflexively tries to block one of the bolts, but it's a vibro blade, so it kind of does nothing much there. Explodes back, hits him in the chest. He goes end over end, and Gar just keeps lighting him up, like boom, 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 boom. Yeah, continues to hit him because he's kind of scared. This thing was scary, so he keeps shooting it to make it deader than dead.
Okay, now you rolled a 6 on your risk die, which puts you at risk. So we go to confront them, harmful consequences, and they are Force users, not very potent ones, but they do have access to the Force. So you are going to roll -1 on this. 1 dice, -1. You want a high number.
Okay, here we go. I rolled a 3, which is -1 makes it a 2.
The highest roll is 1 to 3. The consequences are serious. Tell me if it's mortal. You fill your stress track and crack. It's bloody. You will die after 1 more action without medical treatment. Or it's painful. You cannot use your expertise until you get medical treatment. Hard choices.
It is. But I think I'm going to go with painful because the other 2 seem worse. So painful.
Okay, so there's a drop-down turns available to cannot be used for expertise up there near the top. I think it's maybe just below the stress track.
Got it.
And what does that look like? What do we see that makes it so harsh on you?
I think there's a moment when he gets hit in the chest, he locks eyes, and we haven't described this person, but I'm thinking he's a Sith-blooded, so he's got this red skin and these weird, like, kind of facial skin odd things. Look it up. It's a weird SWTOR thing, but they're scary looking. He locks eyes with Gar before Gar shoots him again and does something crazy that maybe he's seen Van before, but just scrambles his brain for a moment. Gar has to fight through to continue firing, but it's obvious. Maybe like you do the like nosebleed, obviously brain trauma. That's what TV tells us.
It's true. That is true. Fine. That's great. Let's go. Where am I left? Van, dropping through down towards the deepest point here.
And I'd like to use this as my obstacle. right? Because I think what happens is like, you know, there's the light up of the blasters and everything behind it, and I just swoop through and it cuts to the silence, you know, of this temple and like this empty space, and then just a speeder bike just drops through the hole, and Van just like leaps off the side and then immediately walks over to like the rubble, the collapsed area, right? Like you would need to know exactly where to look. And he just goes and kicks over a rock and it tumbles off, and then there's just like a skeletal hand clutching the broken hilt of a lightsaber. And of course, as he picks it up is when the other acolyte enters the room behind him.
I think I would quite like this to actually be Adept Song.
Adept Song, yes, I'd like that. With my 5 stress and no intel.
Is there anything you want to tell me before we start this, Rand?
Well, yes, I think I want to tell you about. I think I'm going to say something new about my anchor again, frankly.
You don't say.
Yeah. And let's roll that first. That's a 5.
Okay. So that's fine and dandy. You reduce stress by 1, but what do you tell us about this Dathomirian witch?
What does she do? What she does is that she teaches people, you know, to be strong. For through strength you'll gain power. Through power you'll gain victory. Through victory your chains will be broken, and the Force shall free you. And as I hear those words, I mean, if it's okay, this is really what I was hoping to do here, was like slip out one of the kyber crystals from my thing.
Oh, hang on. Let's come to that in a moment. Let's come to that in a moment. Because I want to fill in why she is now missing.
Oh,
okay. I think we cut to that convict camp where she's been sneaking into the camp to help people resist the pain and torment of their captivity. And one of the convicts says, she wasn't here last night either.
Yes. ... Yeah.
So, okay. So now you want to try to activate a broken.
It's just missing the crystal is the shtick, and of course I think it would be what's more Star Wars than finding a lost lightsaber and fighting the Sith in a tunnel, right?
Okay. I'm just not entirely certain at the moment where that kyber crystal is. Well, the last time we heard about that kyber crystal, it was in a box with one of Korsha's droids.
We keep saying crystals or crystal.
Yeah, I think I have to go crystal. I think I over-egged the last time. I think finding 2 of these together is so I'll retro that.
Given that fictionally then I just have a hilt and nothing else, I will just pull out a vibro sword. Sod it. I won't have the cool lightsaber moment. It's fine.
Well, could we have Korsha fly it down at that moment? You know,
can I spit an intel?
Well, I think we might come to that because narratively we need to get the crystal and the saber together, or of course we still have a 3rd episode to come.
Yeah, of course I am happy to cut that scene there though, as Van dodges this acolyte around the temple and buys time essentially, right? Like, yeah.
While maybe Korsha's droid is.
And you know what they say, right? Where are your rebel friends now?
Love it. Gar is a little bit shaken by his last encounter. Korsha crashed one of the acolytes into the wall and took him out. Kit, I think you still have an acolyte to deal with.
Okay.
Yeah, because they're not quite. They took a fall off the ceiling when you got the drop on them, and I think probably this is just before where you go into this big space.
Right.
Yeah. So you're still in the corridor leading to it. So Kit, what do we see you doing from inside the spider walker?
So I think I want to get out of the walker. I think I want to see, jumping down and grabbing this acolyte and throwing them down, into this pit, into this recessed area.
I think that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Because I think they're going to dance around this walker if you don't.
Yeah. So yeah, let's go for it.
Let's confront.
Yep.
Expertise if you got it. Stress if you want it. I think you're looking at 3.
All right.
Risk die here.
Let me see one quick thing. Let's see. We have a deterrent. They're tempted with power. Or risk to a crystal. Are we in a situation where there's a risk to a crystal? Probably not.
I don't think so, because I think
No.
what we've come to is that drone is now trying to get the crystal to Van,
Yeah.
unless Portia wants to squash that in a moment.
I mean, I would say that perhaps that is risk for a crystal, because I was thinking about this the other day. Is that like, it's not destroying it, right? It's like they're compelled by it. They want to see it. So if it's taking it out of their hands, they're not
Yes.
drawn to it. You know,
That is
like,
fair. That is
to
fair.
the point of kind of like villainous insanity sort of
Yeah.
thing. You know,
So that will reduce the number of risk die by 1. So we're down to 2 risk die. Only 2 risk die.
Okay.
You're a
I don't know
Wookiee.
how do you unclick a button?
I think you click on it and come away.
Click, come away. Okay, got it. All right, so I got 2 risk die and all 4 of the other dice. Okay.
Exactly.
I got a 6, perfect roll.
Not even on the stress and a
No.
miserable risk. How do you take out this Acolyte, Kit?
Just like I said, I jump down from the spider droid, land on my feet, grab it. Maybe it's looking at Portia, grab it. He's wiggling, throw him down. He comes falling down, maybe directly in between, like where Van and Son are confronting each other.
Oh, I love that for the 6, the added benefit, because I think that that may well put Song off her game, having one of her underlings. I think, in fact, I will declare seeing an underling humbled as a vulnerability, as a deterrent, because I think that is fair. So, Portia.
I love the image that we had on screen of, where are your rebel friends now? And then boom, down comes the minion, crashed, and yeah.
I do need to roll for stress, though. Right?
You do.
Okay.
And remember to mark intel on that 6.
It does go up. Okay.
Okay. So that nails Kit. Gar, you are slightly rattled, but you're still on the bike. What do you want to do?
I'm taking off like a shot to go back up Van. So I'm going to try to find Van and give him some backup.
He went down there somewhere.
I'll find him. It'll be
Fine. Portia, you leapt away from the bike, so you don't have a bike. But the comms, I think Van is, where's that crystal?
So just to make sure I understand positioning, we have the crystal up here inside one of the drones, and they're down below. Gar's headed down below, and there are no acolytes left up here. Is that right?
No.
Okay, good. Okay, so yeah, I think it's going to be, I think we see this drone kind of buzz over, and then like, and then the engine's cut out, and it just drops like a rock, right? And it's going all the way down, and we'll see if we can't get it to Van in time.
Well, I'm curious whether, Gar, you see this thing dropping and you want to try and catch it.
Sure.
Because I just love the visual of you delivering this in some way.
Oh, I'll be happy to deliver it. He is the person I care most about.
Let's have you roll with expertise if it's available, because I think this is about getting that bike in the right place.
My expertise cannot be used right now.
Okay, so
unless I can spend a
intel to get it back.
Okay, then I'll burn an intel to get it back as I see that, and as I think about, oh yeah, he said he needed that thing. So I will use my expertise. But then does it cannot be available once I use it? Is that right?
Oh, it's now available until it becomes unavailable again.
Until it becomes unavailable. Okay.
It's a spend once, lots of benefit.
Cool. I will then do this, and where's my stress again? I'm at 3. Is that right? Yeah, I spend intel to burn one down. Okay. So I will spend stress. Is there risk dice to this? I'm just catching a thing.
No, you're just catching a falling droid.
Yay, I got a 5 and not on stress. And stress is not higher.
Van, let's drop down into this space below where you are looking to buy some time until Gar can get you the crystal. Yes?
Mm-hmm.
What do we see you doing? How are you going to buy some time?
I think I'm buying time with the vibroblade that I have, which is not, has she got a vibroblade at song, or she has a lightsaber?
No, she has a
doesn't But-
lightsaber.
yeah, so it's I can't block. I'm just dodging and ducking, and but I'm not on the offensive. It's just kind of like, and I'm imagining that like we've got Kit was crashed down, and it's all kind of like maybe she bats aside a blaster bolt in the middle of this, like just casually kind of thing. It's like a dual thing, I'm keeping her attention focused on me. And I'm not seeing, well, in my hand-to-hand, I think helps me avoid this, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So you have expertise.
Yeah.
Stress dice if you want it. You are at risk.
Yes.
She is a Sith, a Force user. And that lightsaber is, if you it's dangerous. So 3 risk die.
3 risk die. Do I want to include my stress? No, because I don't have any intel.
And the nice thing here is well, roll the dice and we'll see how I interpret it.
Can
but
we
I get
one
6 on
deterrent?
this.
Oh, never mind.
But what she does is she slices through the vibroblade effortlessly, and then she is compelled to tempt the Force user. The Force, I feel the Force in you. And Van, I feel the Force. You need to be taught, my friend. Imagine what you could learn.
I'm not looking for a master.
Let's see, because I just want to check out here. No, you're not. You're not curious about this at all, really. Fine. Okay. So, but that buys you the time, right? So I'm not going to apply the harmful consequence. The harmful consequence is she had to tempt you. That soaks it up. And then Gar streaks through a hole in the ceiling. What do you do, Gar?
Sweet. Come, look around a little bit, trying to track where Van is. I don't have those crazy 4 senses.
Exactly. Well, down there below you, there's you see the red lightsaber, and a vibro blade just cartwheeling away in 3 parts.
Then I'm gonna swoop down, firing on her with one hand while holding the thing. Van!
Let's have you roll with vehicle expertise if it's available. Stress dice if you want it.
Yes,
you are
I
at
do.
risk. She is a Force user.
Okay.
So 2 risk die. Though I think the fact that she knows you have the crystals, they are at risk. So that's 1 risk die. That's all it takes to see whether she can deflect one of those blaster bolts back at you.
Just 1 risk die then? I thought you said
Just
2.
the 1
It's
risk
or 2?
die.
Oh, just 1. That's fine. Okay, I got a 4 was my best die. The stress and expertise tied, and the risk was only a 2.
So stress goes up by 1. But you successfully avoid the blaster bolts. You hit her, but her armor takes it. Glances off this heavy black armor she's wearing. But Van, Gar. I'm assuming Gar, you drop the crystal to him.
Yeah, I throw it at him.
Yeah, I imagine you throw it, right, and then that whole thing, like all the sequence of events, right, and then as the camera cuts back to Van, it's just like
let's have you roll to mechanize this real threat to her then. Yeah.
Yes.
Is there a way that I could help with this?
Tell me what.
Since there's a drone in play.
There is a drone in play.
I don't mechanically. What could I do to help?
I'm struggling a little bit, to be honest.
Well, mechanically, she's got stress to burn, right? Still before I can deal the final blow. So, like mechanically, it could be that as I ignite this lightsaber, right? Like we're having a fight, and you're going to give me an opening by doing the drone coming in and attacking her midway.
I thought that what Steve was asking was, can the drone help you make a lightsaber?
Oh, I see. Do I have to make the lightsaber?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah.
So
Well,
that's
no,
what
then
I
I
was
think the
thinking
drone can
was-
definitely do that. Yeah.
Yeah. Since I'm a
Um,
mech, what I was seeing was this drone kind of splits apart and has things ready so that whenever
Tools.
there's a lightsaber hilt, it'll try and shove the thing into place.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. I'd
Uh,
slam the
s-
crystal in and.
Well,
Yeah.
I know you want to slam the kid.
Yeah.
So,
No, but then the
Korsha,
droid does it. You know?
Korsha, spend stress to
Yeah.
have that kind of tool carrying droid.
Perfect.
That will give Van the tools, so he'll have tech expertise when he tries to do it. But it's going to take time. That this is going to need distraction, Gar. You need to distract the Sith again.
Oh, great. That sounds fun. I'm not
Kit,
gonna die.
while this is going on, what are you doing?
Is that to Gar or to me? Sorry.
To Kit, because I'm
Oh.
conscious that I've not come back to Kit.
I would like to see a spider droid fall on the head of the Sith.
Okay, we'll come back to that one in a moment. Gar, distract the Sith.
Okay. Yeah, I'll do that thing. How
Same
much
as
risk
last
is coming
time.
at me? One
Um,
risk?
The risk is now 2 risk die because you've dropped the crystal. You're not important to her anymore. So expertise, stress dice if you want it, 2 risk die.
Yeah, here we go.
Oh,
Oh, Jesus, 6 on the risk.
And
the best
stress
I
goes
got
up
is
by
a
1.
3.
So you fail to distract her. The
Wait,
6
why does I'm curious, why does stress go up by 1? Because it was the highest die?
it was the highest die.
Oh, so if it's the highest die or if it's higher than your current total, is that the way?
No. So when you roll for stress, it has to be higher than current stress.
Okay, but if
But
it's
if you
within
include it in the
it's
dice
just
pool,
okay.
equal to or higher than, automatic
Got
up.
it. Got it. Okay.
So stress goes up by 1. You don't distract her much. And 6, you are going to take a harmful consequence, conceivably. So this is any dice you like, -1.
Another 3. Boy, that is it actually rolling?
I saw it move.
All right.
I saw it move.
All right.
You are already used up the painful, so you can't use your expertise until you get medical treatment. You are faced with it's mortal. Fill your stress.
I think she flicked one of the blaster bolts back at me and
I
just
think
hit me
so.
full on. Yeah.
It's bloody. You'll die after 1 more action without medical treatment.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So what does that
sucks.
look like, Gar?
I think it hits him like full in the chest. It kind of shears off one of the handles of his speeder
the
bike.
bike.
And sends him. Yeah, I know.
Yeah. The good thing is you could apply that medical treatment to yourself, but I'll come to you in a moment. Kit, you want to try and drop a spider droid into this hole, yeah?
Right.
Van, let's see if you can put together in no time flat while we got a crashing speeder bike. Let's see if you can do it.
Yeah, and there's this little droid, like all the little pieces right
so
around
you've got
it,
the
yeah.
tools. You have temporary access to technical expertise. As long as you have expertise you can use, and you can. So let's have you roll with stress or not. I don't know. You tell me.
No stress. That's 6.
On a 6.
Yeah.
It just clicks together. It's like miraculous. And you tell me, what are we seeing here?
Like she turns away, then Gar just like bites it right as like a blast. She's walking towards it as I'm desperately working with this droid, and then the lightsaber blade, and then the blaster bolt fires out, and she just bats it aside and takes out Gar, and poof. And as she turns around, you just see Van. The lightsaber finally cracks open. It's like a crackling black blade, and he says, "You shouldn't have done that. He was my friend."
I'm looking at the clock,
Yeah.
and I do want a returning nemesis. So that is when she flees for her life.
Terrified of the obsidian burn. Yeah.
So I can bring her back next time. I'm going to assume no one's going to give chase. Sorry, Kit. It just time and motion.
Van runs straight towards Gar's body as soon as she leaps out of the way, you know.
Fine. And that is, you run that way, she runs that way, bang, spider droid hits the ground. And that,
Collapsing
I
the
think,
escape route that she took anyways, right? Like,
so you can't chase her.
Yeah.
You can't chase her. So that, I think, is where we'll finish this episode.
Can I have like one like tagline?
Oh yeah, do.
Van comes over. There's of course the like black smoke scars all over Gar's face. We see like the camera doesn't even show the lower where he got hit. It doesn't look good. And he weakly says, I told you we were friends, man. I told you.
You see, that's what comes of playing Action Movie World last week. Look, we'll do debrief and downtime at the start next time, and then have our climactic finale. If we have 5 minutes for quick stars and wishes. If you have to go, please don't feel obliged to stay. But let's have a quick canter down the character keeper from Jason. Any stars? Any wishes?
It was a lot of fun. I'm glad. It seemed like Rich and Steven understood the game better this time. So I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. I enjoyed really trying to put the game through trying to get as many tangled sort of things to do using the mechanics. That was my goal today. So I had fun. Thanks.
Yeah, you certainly were stack those mechanics in order to. Mm-hmm. Mastery. Any wishes for next time?
I feel like, this is, we could sort this out more, but I feel like we did pretty good. So the clock ran out, but I think we should get some sort of benefit out of what we had done. Her being able to get away is cool, but maybe we shouldn't get penalized for that.
I think you're right. I think I'll think about what I do with heat on the basis of that.
Sounds good.
Because there is a point where this is Star Wars after all. And no matter what I try, it's not going to be as bleak as the game as written. So that's Jason. Moving along. Will, any stars, any wishes?
I really enjoyed this session. It was great. I loved going to Taris, all of that stuff. I loved seeing Gar's home turf. I loved all the little modifications to his ship and his the tacky speeder bike thing and the rims and all of that. I loved the use of like the drones and the droids and things. I'm imagining like the little that Korsha was doing. I'm imagining like in Fallen Order, like lots of those kind of droids running around. And Kit just being full on Wookiee and just tearing people out of things is always the best way to do anything. And I love the whole like set piece confrontation at the end and all the visuals and stuff that we had with the Wookiee's knees tucked up inside the pod and that kind of stuff. And wishes. I've got my hands on a lightsaber. I definitely want to use that, of course. But I guess wishes, I don't know, maybe like an operation that lends itself to being a little bit less like all in one space kind of stuff, like maybe looser time frames and stuff in between actions, and
it's tricky to manage, I'll be honest, but
yeah,
I'll see what I can do.
I get it.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Moving along, Stephen, any stars, any wishes?
Wishes. Well, okay. Stars. The mechanics that we've got going on seemed really good, and they felt really good. Being able to go back and forth and get things taken care of. I wish I'd been able to spend more intel to reduce my stress. I think both Rich and I have a lot of intel and a lot of stress to get rid of. So it's one of those things that, as my turn came up, it was like, oh, I want to do my action. I should have also at the same time spent intel to reduce the stress. And what was the other thing? So stars, again, the people who were playing the game and the game itself really felt very Star Wars-like, and we were able to do really exciting things, and it pushed the story forward, which was a lot of fun. I also should probably give a star to the dice roller because we rolled a lot of 6s, and that was really nice. And that let us take over narrative control quite a bit more than, But everything on, I love especially this ending with these acolytes and the idea of, right as you light up the saber, she takes off, and everybody kind of piling on, trying to help out. I really liked all of that. Yeah.
It did feel very Star Wars to be that end. Rich, any stars, any wishes?
Stars to you guys for Alan and Will and Jason taking a step back, being very mindful. Like, I'm explaining this thing that I'm using. Like, you did a great job of helping bring me along, and suggesting a few options for me was super helpful. So thank you so much. That was really nice. I felt a lot more welcome and didn't feel like a boob or didn't feel outside at all. So that was awesome. Thank you. Meant a lot to me. Stephen, the like moment where Korsha grabbed the two drones to like leap across to a thing was super cool. Jason, when Kit takes the spider walk, that was just the amount of fan service I needed. The van finally facing off somebody and overwhelmed and then getting the lightsaber, that was, I could just hear the John Williams music swelling, and Alan orchestrating all of that together was really, really good. Wishes, I want to see Van face off with somebody with the lightsaber. I want us to take down a Sith with like Kit, Korsha, and Gar, like wishes. So it's a wish. So I wish we would take down a Sith, not like having to be the Force user, but I'm also okay if like the permutations and procedures don't allow that. But that'd be a wish I'd throw out there.
Okay, I've written down take down a Sith. Lightsaber.
Yeah, there was
Sith.
a lot of words in there, but that's what I meant.
Yeah, I get that. Okay, stars from me. I loved, we loved that bike, and it ended up getting crashed. That is just chef's kiss. Will, making that leap to Kyber Crystal, broken. Let's make a lightsaber. And that threw me for a bit, but I'm glad we got there in the end. Korsha, inventive use of drones. We're now, 101 was last time. Now we're on like kind of 301, inventive use of drones. And Jason, there's a spider crawler hanging from the ceiling. What do? I leap out, pull open the hatch, and pull people out of it. Of course you did. That was delightful. It was all delightful. Wishes from me. I must remember the rule that says with named opponents, you don't get to use their expertise if they counter it. But every time I thought about it, I thought, no, that's not Star Wars. It's not Star Wars. So I thank you all. That was great fun for me. I will stop the recording. So wave bye-bye to the internet.